This year is entitled In Memory, Genia Brill Z. Can an Onain take a shower? An Onain, of course, is a person from the time of death till burial, any of the 7 relatives, and then after Kvura, burial, then the person is defined as an Avel. The question is, can an Onain take a shower? When I was sitting with the family the day of the death, the Shaila came up, and of course the families with all the horror going on, and it's just an unbelievable disaster and a shock. No one was expecting this. Still, of course, the families are all just amazing families, halachic families, and the Shaila came up. What's the halacha regarding showering? Really, the question of showering is part of a broader question. Who is an Onain? Do we have the category of death, which leads to aninut, so one is an Onain. Then there's burial, and then burial leads to avelut. Then he's an avel, or she's an avel. But there's 2 separate categories. One category called an Onain. That's caused by death, that's status. And the next category is avelut, and that is started with the burial process. Or do we say no? Right when the death occurs, the relative is an avel with a special addition of Onain, aninut. It's a nice question. It's a fascinating question. We don't really think of these things, especially in the time when everything's happening. It's just too confusing and too painful. Everyone's too distraught. But take a step back. It's a fascinating question. Is there a stage called aninut? And then, after burial, there's a stage called avelut, 2 separate stages. Or it all comes together. Avelut, aninut comes together, and then, with burial, the person remains an avel, but the aninut status is gone. So this, right away, person here is like, wow, that's an interesting way to look at it, these 2 sides. And it's not just interesting for us, mere laymen, it's actually a machloket from the Rishonim, the Rambam, Tosfos, the Ritzgeyut. All 3 maintain at death a person is an Onain. After burial, a person becomes an avel. While the Ramban, Rabbeinu Peretz, they maintain that a person is avelut right when the death occurs. And in addition, the person is an Onain as well. And there's a lot of ramifications for this question. If Onain is its own unique status, like Rambam, Tosfos, and the Ritzgeyut, so then there might be very few restrictions. So we don't only does have meat and wine, doesn't make brachot, is allowed to wear shoes, and be involved in all the calls and take care of the death, of the burial, and then washing, showering, cutting nails, laundering, that begins after death, after the burial. That's when there's an avelus kicks in. But things are mutter till then. Just the restrictions of aninut apply. Or do we say no? Washing is prohibited. He's an avel. Anointing with oil. He's an avel. Learning Torah. He's an avel. He's also an Onain. And as an Onain, what does that mean? Oh, that he cannot do brachot because he's focused on the burial. Cannot put on tefillin, no ashiyatzar. He's focused on the burial. She's focused on the burial. And the kavod is for the burial now. So the Shulchan Aruch's psak is a bit vague. Some take him to mean that he paskins like the Rambam, and that person is not an avel, only an Onain. It's the Aruch Shulchan learns the Rambam, the Shulchan Aruch that way. The Aruch Shulchan learns the Shulchan Aruch to be like the Rambam. Pirkei Teshuva is not so sure, but for Ashkenazic Jewry, it's clear. The Ramah paskins clearly that an Onain is an avel plus, which means no washing, no anointing, no pleasurable activities like that. All the restrictions of avelut apply. The leniencies to wear shoes because it's still time to go out and make the arrangements, so they waive the prohibition of shoes and going out of the house to take care of the burial process. Otherwise, person is an avel with all the restrictions of avelut, with those exceptions that we mentioned, plus an Onain with the prohibition of meat and wine and the exemption or prohibition of brachot. That's how we paskin. So just to finish off, so when I was sitting with the family a few hours after the tragedy, and the question came up, and an excellent question is, can we just shower? Of course, we're not in Avelut yet, or not. And the answer is, since the Avelim Ashkenazim, and there are more clearly Paskins Ashkenazim is are already Avelim plus an Onain status. So therefore, I said, no, we have to wait. And of course, the family accepted that. It was just a halachic shaila, not like, oh, we need to shower. It's a shaila. And the answer is no. So in summary, an Onain is an Avel with several modifications,